New tonight, a double homicide being probed as investigators say 2 men killed were being electronically monitored. And think twice if you plan on causing mischief during this year's Independence celebration, as 1,100 officers assigned to Clifford Park. Plus, increase in pay. BTVI and UTAB sign an industrial agreement. Then in our news at 7:30, a slap in the face is how taxi drivers describe a proposed fare increase. Exactly what has the union chief peeved? Find out coming up. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kendino Knowles. We're coming to you live from Margaritaville in downtown Nassau, where we are broadcasting for our final night at number 2 Bay Street, which is just feet away from the historic Clifford Park, where the much-anticipated Independence 50 events will take place in 3 days on July 10th. As we continue to celebrate our country's Golden Jubilee, we've got to give special thanks tonight to Bahama Handprints for outfitting me and the entire Our News team. They've kept us looking really good all week. And if you want to see some of our best looks, you can head over to ournews.bs. Now to the news. As neighbors were arrested to the sound, or alerted that is, to the sound of gunshots on Sunset Drive off Sea-Link Drive in South Beach just after 9 o'clock last night. That's when police tell us 2 men, both in their 20s, were ambushed outside their home and were killed. Police Press Liaison Officer, Chief Superintendent Kristen Skippings.
Preliminary information revealed thus far, the men were about to leave this area when they were approached by 2 males, both of whom were armed with firearms. One of the firearms was a high-powered weapon. They opened fire on the vehicle, striking both males. They both succumbed to their injuries on scene.
Now, Skipping is telling us that both victims were out on bail for serious crimes.
Both of the males are presently being electronically monitored. Both of the males are on bail. One is on bail for murder, and the other one is on bail for attempted murder. The man, one is in his early 20s, and the other one is in his mid-20s.
And police need your help tonight finding a suspect. They say held up a man near a school off Soldier Road and Old Trail Road. The incident happening around 10 o'clock last night after the victim was approached by a gunman who robbed him of his cell phone. Anyone with information on this latest armed robbery is asked to contact police at 911-919 or the Criminal Investigations Department at 502-9919. And about 1,100 officers from all branches of law enforcement will be involved in securing Clifford Park during the festivities on Sunday night. Security checkpoints, metal detectors, and designated seating areas have all been planned by the Royal Bahamas Police Force, as a number of regional and international guests are expected to be in attendance. Officer in charge of operations at the Independence Celebrations Committee, Assistant Commissioner Ken Strawn, sending this warning to anyone he says is seeking to cause mischief.
Anyone who wants to, in any form or fashion, create mischief, I assure you, you will be dealt with. And I must caution you, along that arena, the country has spent much to ensure that the relevant facilities are in place, including that of CCTV. So yes, we are paying attention. We are paying attention to that level. The officers will be out on post, and we ask that whatever thoughts you may have in your mind to create mischief, leave that. Come out, let's be one.
All right, well, after 11 months of discussions, 40 employees at Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute, BTVI, will benefit from an industrial agreement that's been signed between the government and the Union of Tertiary Educators of the Bahamas. BTVI Interim President Dr. Linda Davis notes the benefits includes salary increases.
Salaries range now anywhere from $3K plus to 75 in terms of negotiated amounts and possibilities of persons as they are slotted onto that career path. There are a number also of leaves that were agreed very generous leaves that include compassionate, special, maternity, adoption, paternity that had not existed previously.
Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin was on hand for this morning's signing, saying that she's pleased they've come to this resolution. Meanwhile, UTEP President Daniel Thompson says it's only the beginning.
In the relationship between employer and employee, there are some natural tensions along the way, but where you can find a happy medium that allows for the success and progress of all concerned, that is a huge accomplishment.
There's a lot of things we didn't accomplish in this process, but we have accomplished so much more. And we just like to say that for those things that are still to be gotten.
All right, we've got much more to get to in our live broadcast tonight from Margaritaville, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson, he's in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Kindy, and a happy Friday evening, everybody. Yeah, we ending the week at very warm temperatures. We managed to get up to 94 today. Temperatures at the officially at the airport. That was a high temperature. Feels like temperatures also in the triple digits. Right now, we are still in the upper 80s, near 90. Partly cloudy skies, we call it humid. Your winds out of the southeast at 10 miles per hour. And look at those feels like temperatures. We are still feeling like the 90s. Temperatures around the remainder of the islands, believe it or not, it is still in the mid to upper 80s, 86 in Freeport, as well as in Marsh Harbour, Abaco, Great Harbour Key. We pick up 84 in Alistown. Here in the capital, as I mentioned, 88, 86 in Governor's Harbour. In the central Bahamas, 87 in Kemps Bay. We pick up more 86s in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Georgetown. 87 in Coburn Townsend, Salvador, Deadman's Key, 86, and into the southeast Bahamas. 86s in Duncantown, Ragged Island, and in Colonel Hill, Cricket Island. Delectable Bay, that's in Acklins, 85, 87 in Abrahams Bay. Matthewtown, Inago, 86, and our very good neighbors to the east, the Turks and Caicos Islands. You guys are very near the 90-degree mark with 87. Satellite view and radar composite. Not much happening across the area. We do have some Saharan dust that's invading the southeast and central Bahamas, so you see the lack of clouds down there. But we still have some moisture in place across the northwest Bahamas. That's generating some showers and some isolated thunderstorms. We will continue to see that trend later on tonight and possibly even into the early parts of tomorrow. But that African dust is going to be moving in our direction, so we're looking at some lesser chances for showers. But boy, it's going to be hot for the next several days. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
When we come back, we take a sip and dine at Margaritaville. This as we highlight excellence in hospitality. And lighting and accessibility a priority for Clifford Park in tonight's Work in Progress segment when Our News returns.
If new, Heineken Silver was a riveting Viking saga.
Lars the 12th. Your family tortured my first wife and stole my second favorite goat. Now you want to marry my daughter. Okay.
All the taste, no bitter endings. Smooth, fresh, silver.
We are coming to you live from the Margaritaville Resort in downtown Nassau, where we continue to highlight the offerings that are happening here. Our Megan Shepherd, she's actually in the kitchen. She's got on her chef's hat, and she's about to take a sip and dine.
We do run a breakfast buffet that has a full Bahamian corner, where every day there is something new and different Bahamian-wise. There's usually a South offering. There is always steamed sausages. There's always grits. Their options are also there. But we have full American buffet breakfast as well. So you can get your omelets, you can get pancakes, you can get French toast, you can get a collection of those things. We have hummus. We do have smoked salmon on that buffet as well. Or if you're very healthy, we have salad. We always have assorted breads. There's always a pastry setup as well. We look forward to you enjoying enjoying breakfast with us to celebrate independence.
But if you're anything like me, coffee is always a great option any time of the day.
Joe Merchant's is Imagine Starbucks on steroids. At Joe Merchant, you're going to end up getting from us, we have coffees, we have breakfast sandwiches, we have fruit bowls, but there's also a full display case that would serve beers and wines. If you want to get some nice champagne, you want anything grab and go, you can get from there as well.
And when it comes to lunch offerings, Margaritaville has you covered. If you want to enjoy your food and drinks poolside, Sandra says you definitely want to check out 12 Faults.
You get really great cocktails, views of the ocean, you're on the outside. We open up until 10 p.m. every night. Frank and Lola's is our newly opened Italian restaurant where we serve pastas and pizzas.
My independence confession is that I have never cleaned a fish, I've never seasoned a fish, and I've never fried a fish. And so Chef Cavanier is going to give me the step-by-step tutorial for our 50th anniversary of independence on how to cook a snapper. What do I do first?
Your first thing, you're going to cut it open.
Score it up.
Squash it up. Get the salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
Got the lime.
This is a hard lime.
All right, now we let it sit about a fryer. So we'll take it to the fryer.
Take it to the, oh Lord. Get it in there. Shake it off.
Shake it.
The most I can do is drop this in the basket. Shake it some more. Yay!
All right, thanks a lot, Megan. And now that you've learned how to fry that fish, I want a snapper. All right, now we've been here for the whole week, and one of the things that we got to experience was hospitality excellence. Our Talia Hall, she spoke with a number of Margaritaville employees who are all about service. Take a look.
And I'll be here to assist you, or let's get someone else. If I can't do it, I'll find that person that can do it, okay? Once again, welcome to the Margaritaville, baby. Woo!
That's just a little sample of the energy among staff members at the Margaritaville Beach Resort. Pool and beach attendant Lakeisha Lewis has been a part of the resort for 2 years.
This is like my comfort zone. When I come to work, pardon me for me being so emotional, because I'm a very emotional individual. So when I come to work, my expectation is to make sure my guests have an awesome stay.
And as for what drives her to be the employee that she is,
100% service.
For those guests attending the various restaurants on the property, here's Evelina Pennerman, who's usually behind the scenes preparing meals.
And we are julienne cut the peppers, okay?
This is a julienne cut.
You get to feel and touch everything. And when you be a cook, you get the feels, you get the touch, you get the, a lot of things. It's like a chemistry stuff.
Right. And what advice would you give to other cooks? Because you really got to put the love.
You are right.
What advice would you give to
well,
others? It's a job.
It's not just a job. It's not all about the money. It's that you really, really have to put your effort into it. What keeps me going is that each day you reach to work and everybody is jolly and happy. You know, you're coming to work to, don't care what's happening, we're coming to work to make sure that we are happy, or everybody is happy.
Another notable employee is manager Carla Quare, who works in the communications department. She is the resort's leader of the year.
I'm actually in charge of a dual role. I'm in charge of the reservations team here, along with our call center operators. I've been in this role for about a year plus. And I just do all of the day-to-day operations with all our operators, making sure we close those sales for reservations team as well.
Now, Quare has been promoted twice in 1 year, which she says shows that the company truly believes in their employees.
I feel as if being recognized is something that definitely kept me motivated here. I do feel as if with being at Margaritaville, they do show that initiative and they do show that they prioritize their employees, and without pressure, they don't create diamonds.
All right, what a wonderful story, and congratulations to all of them for their continued service. Well, in Wednesday's Work in Progress segment, we told you about improvements to Clifford Park ahead of the Bahamas' 50th independence, but what specifically were the changes? Our Jamila Mizik found out and has more tonight.
Clifford Park will come alive this weekend for the country's Golden Jubilee celebrations, but not before it receives some essential improvements. Here's project architect for the Clifford Park redevelopment project, Hyacinth Allen, with a breakdown.
We have improved the public restrooms, fully outfitted with new fittings and fixtures and finishes. We've done a lot of paving works. We have enclosed the property with new fencing and entrance gates. We've also added some new concrete bleachers. We've extended the existing ones.
She says improved lighting and accessibility were also priority for the popular historical site.
VIP stand was fully refurbished, and we've added handicap ramps for accessibility of the handicaps. We've done a lot of infrastructural work also for the electric lighting and improve the lighting here and in the public parking areas. We've also done a lot of work in the drainage of the surrounding property.
Reporting for Work in Progress for Our News, I'm Jamila Missick.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as Titan submersible suspends exploration. Plus, an Iowa student kills a teacher over bad grades. And CARICOM agrees to free movement when our news returns.
If new, Heineken Silver was a riveting Viking saga.
Last the 12th. Your family tortured my first wife and stole my second favorite goat. Now you want to marry my daughter. Okay.
All the taste, no bitter endings. Smooth, fresh, silver.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. The U.S.-based company that managed the tourist submersible that imploded during a dive to the wreck of the Titanic has suspended all exploration and commercial operations. Its website showed as much on Thursday. Freddie Joyner reports.
The company operating the submersible that imploded last month, killing 5 people, has suspended all exploration and commercial operations. OceanGate, a U.S.-based company, did not elaborate on matters beyond a red banner at the top of its website. The company lost contact with its Titan submarine on June 18th during a dive to the wreck of the Titanic, prompting a massive undersea search for the vessel. The U.S. Coast Guard last week recovered presumed human remains and debris from the sub on the ocean floor. Examination of the debris is expected to shed more light on how the implosion happened. U.S. and Canadian authorities are investigating the cause of the disaster, which raised questions about the unregulated nature of such expeditions.
A teenager in the U.S. state of Iowa who beat his teacher to death with a baseball bat over a bad grade has been sentenced to life in prison. 17-year-old Willard Miller pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in April for his role in the November 2nd, 2021 killing of Noema Garber, a Spanish teacher. Miller and co-defendant Jeremy Goodale, who is now 18, attacked 66-year-old Garber after she marked down Miller's work. Both were charged as adults. Well, climate activist Greta Thunberg has been charged with disobeying the police during a protest. Swedish prosecutors have said the 20-year-old joined a group of young protesters blockading oil tankers at a port in Malmö in June. Police said she refused to leave when asked to. She could face a 6-month prison sentence or fine. Reclaim the future blockade the Malmö port for 6 days in June. Some protesters climbed on top of that oil tanker. Thunberg faces a fine or a sentence of up to 6 months in jail, as we said, and the authority is actively following this case. And Caribbean community leaders have agreed to amend the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas by March 30th next year to guarantee CARICOM nationals generally the right to unrestricted travel to live and work in member countries of the community. Come March, the free movement, however, will apply to only member states that are part of the CARICOM single market and economy. Chairman of CARICOM and Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Scarrett, said the regional leaders understood that there will be challenges for some and said we are committed to this, and noted that it is a fundamental part of the integration architecture. And finally, ExxonMobil has received a stamp of approval for its 35-well exploration and appraisal drilling campaign on the Stabroek Block offshore Guyana from the country's Environmental Protection Agency. According to that agency, the 35-well exploration and appraisal drilling campaign was approved after the Environmental Assessment Board reviewed and declared acceptable the impact statement and environmental impact assessment. The exact locations of the 35 wells have not been finalized. In 2015, oil was discovered in the Liza field within the eastern half of the Stabroek Block. Still to come in our news today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was July 7. And then in our news at 7:30, the Defense Force Commodore says TCI targeted by Haitian nationals. And get a taste of Bahamian-inspired cuisine at Margaritaville when our news returns. Welcome back to our news. It's time now to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was July 7th. Take a look.
On this day in Bahamian history, in 1943, the largest landowner in the Bahamas, Sir Harry Oakes, was murdered at his estate in Westbourne in Nassau. Sir Harry Oakes was a gold mine owner, investor, resort owner, philanthropist, and politician. Born in the United States, he made his fortune in Canada as a gold prospector. He then obtained British citizenship and moved to the Bahamas in 1935, where he lived until his death. Oakes' body was found in a gruesome state by Harold Christie, who was staying as a guest in his house. His body had been doused with gasoline, burned, and covered with feathers. After the authorities were made aware of his death, the then Governor Duke of Windsor took control of the investigation. 2 days later, Alfred de Margeny was arrested and charged with murder. Margeny was Sir Harry's son-in-law through marriage to his daughter Nancy. Oakes had not approved of the marriage, however, so the couple eloped. Although de Margeny was charged, he was found not guilty, and Oakes' murder remains unsolved to this day. Then in 1997, the Honorable Sir Lyndon Oscar Pindlin retired from frontline politics. Sir Lyndon was the first Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, serving the country for more than 40 years. Sir Lyndon served in Parliament from 1956 to 1992, became Premier in 1967, and Prime Minister in 1969. He led the Bahamas to independence in 1973 and served as head of government until his defeat in 1992. After the Progressive Liberal Party's defeat in the 1997 general election, he retired a few months later, giving his farewell speech at the House of Assembly as he stepped down as Member of Parliament for South Andros. And finally, in 2014, Sir Arthur Folkes stepped down as Governor General of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. He worked at the Tribune as a linotype operator and proofreader in 1948 before becoming the founding editor of the Bahamian Times. Sir Arthur was elected to office in 1967, serving various offices throughout the years. Under his leadership, the country's tourism sector saw impressive gains in 1969, and thanks to his ministerial watch, Bahamas Air flew internationally to Europe for the first time. As the 8th Governor General of the Bahamas, Sir Arthur Folkes had been sworn in on April 14, 2010. In recognition of this, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II elevated his status to the Knight Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George.
All right, well, it's National Pride Day, and with time winding down for the 50th anniversary of independence, the spirit of pride for many is quite alive. Joshua Williams has reaction.
I'm proud to be a Bahamian. God give this land to me.
The country is now a few days away from its Independence Day and excitement is in the air. Residents were out and about as the country celebrates National Pride Day. Decked out in Androsia fabric, Joe Ferguson says there's a lot to be grateful for.
But there's so much we have done in the past 50 years. I don't have enough time to explain to everybody how happy and how faithful we are to be to our God, because He's brought us from a long way, and I'm happy that where I've seen the Bahamas at this moment. We've done a lot. We keep from far, far away.
This resident says she takes pride in the freedoms we enjoy.
I am proud to have the freedom of speech, the freedom of equality. I mean, proud that we are where we are today and what our forefathers fought of.
This energetic songbird describes the celebrations as golden.
You know what it is to reach 50 years? Some persons can't even reach 20. So to reach 50 years is like golden.
And for those independence plans,
for the early part of the day, I'm going to do lunch, nice independent lunch today, and I'm going to make it a few runs. But other than that, I'm just going to enjoy this independent day as it is.
And before they left, our new friends wanted to say,
Happy National Pride Day, Bahamas. Be always proud of yourself. Thank you very much.
Happy 50th Bahamas. We out here, we outside.
Happy National Pride Day, Bahamas.
Happy National Pride Day, Bahamas. 2 for 2. Hey!
All right. Absolutely proud to be Bahamian. Thanks so much for that, Joshua. Now, to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. That does it for us in News at 7. Atalia Hall is up now with the latest headlines.
Outrage first tonight on Our News Live at 7:30. Taxi drivers in New Providence are unhappy following the announcement of a proposed fare increase. Plus, hear how the Bahamas is stepping in to assist the Turks and Caicos Islands. This as the island has been inundated with Haitian migrants. Also, a well-known business leader in the Grand Bahama community calling the back and forth between government and the Port Authority disappointing, and an exclusive interview. We'll tell you why. And later, as we wrap up our series at the Margaritaville Beach Resort, our Megan Shepherd shows us how you can find dine and wine at one of the popular restaurants at the resort. Our News Live at 7:30 starts in a moment. Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Atalia Hall. Well, topping news tonight, insulted and a slap in the face is how taxi drivers are responding to a recent announcement that a fare increase is on the way. They're calling on the transport minister to revisit the decision and consult with them. Bertha McDermott has their candid comments in this report.
It's a slap in the face. I'm going to look at you and tell you it's a slap in the face.
Taxi drivers are outraged at news that a fare increase is on the way for the industry as they feel they deserve more. In her budget communication last month, Transport Minister JoBeth Colby Davis revealed an increase is coming, but she didn't say by how much or when that increase will come. But these drivers say officials informed them the increase will be 10%, which they estimate equates to an additional $3.
When you look at a gallon of gas, it's almost $6. Okay, you mean I couldn't get a gallon gas more added to it?
It's not fair. But now the zone rates was already then low and wasn't making no sense, and now to give a 3% or $3, that is slap in her face.
It's graceful, and it's very insulting to us as drivers and people of this country.
Taxi drivers have been pushing for an increase for quite some time. Back in December, Taxi Cab Union President Wesley Ferguson revealed taxi drivers were eyeing a 30% increase. 7 months later, and these taxi drivers say they weren't consulted.
Come to the masses, to the people, and find out their concerns, because every day we all have different concerns. We all come from different backgrounds. But when we come together in this taxi business, we all are one.
Now taxi drivers say maintaining their vehicles like this one, along along with the cost of living, make what they do a little more difficult. They're asking the minister to come and meet with them.
I think she could come and talk to us and do better, and we have a lot more concerns about other issues.
And I do hope that you go back and revisit this, truly revisit this.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks for that, Berthany. Well, a tip led police to the discovery of $1,000 worth of marijuana around 7:16 yesterday evening. Officers attached to Operation Ceasefire, including Royal Bahamas Defense Force Marines, searched bushes in the Dignity Gardens community where they discovered 1 pound of marijuana. Now, no one is arrested in connection with the find. A man accused of having sex with an underage girl has been denied bail. Prosecutors say 18-year-old Harry Shariti had unlawful sexual intercourse with a 13-year-old girl during April 2023. Shariti did not have to enter a plea to the charge when he appeared before Assistant Chief Magistrate Subasola Swain. He returns to court on August 17 to receive a voluntary bill of indictment. While the Bahamas has seen a decrease in migrant apprehensions, Defense Force Commodore Dr. Raymond King says the Turks and Caicos Islands have been inundated with migrants looking to reach their shores. King says they are being targeted by Haitian nationals from Cape Haitian along the northern coast of the island.
Thus far this year, they would have intercepted just over 2,600 migrants attempting to reach their shores, which exceeds the total amount. They would have experienced just over 2,100 in the year 2022.
Now, the Commodore says there are agreements in place that allow for the Bahamas to assist with incidents like these. The Bahamas signed a ship rider agreement allowing TCI officers to be on board RBDF vessels for joint patrols.
We have dedicated a vessel that is operating off Inagua and Turks and Caicos, given the constraints that they're experiencing with their vessels at this time, which resulted in a positive arrest of some 189 Haitian nationals that were handed over to their officials. So that partnership continues.
And now to Grand Bahama, as government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority have been making headlines as it relates to the management and state of the city of Freeport, while a business leader in the community is speaking out and says he's disappointed in the entire ordeal.
It breaks my heart to be the one to have to speak out and speak up for the Grand Bahama Port Authority because I'm not the fan of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. However, this is not the avenue.
That's a well-known leader in the Grand Bahama business community, Darren Cooper, expressing his thoughts on the recent back and forth between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Now, Cooper was a part of a major protest against the Port Authority in Grand Bahama a little over a year ago, but he says this recent action by government is disappointing.
And the government of all people talking about invoices not being paid, I think the government should go and do a review of themselves because my company alone is still in outstanding, waiting on government to settle a few of their debts.
Now he agrees that some parts of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement should be brought up to date, but admits that there are many benefits in that agreement for licensees like himself. The community leader also making it clear that he does not agree with some who say that government should take ownership of the city of Freeport.
The government can maintain its own roads right here in Freeport. The 8 Mile Rock Road is deplorable. It's in horrible state.
Cooper sharing that he spoke with some investors personally who say they've met all the requirements of the GBPA for potential projects, but have been waiting on government's approval for years.
Do you know how long it is? And some investors the government has taken from Grand Bahama and brought to Nassau and fast-tracked their approval process.
And as for what should happen going forward,
there's something called meetings. You should have some meetings. If you don't want to come to Grand Bahama, then summons the Port Authority to Nassau, the owners, the principal owners, and its board of directors to have a dialogue and to see how best they can chart the way forward in being able to take Grand Bahama to the place that we once knew it to be.
All right, well, we've got a whole lot more to get to in a moment, but for now, a quick check on the forecast with meteorologist Greg Thompson, who is in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Natalia, and welcome everybody for our last day of the week forecast. A quick look at conditions outside our studios. 88 degrees, very warm on the outside. Your winds are out of the south-southeast, and it is pumping in that tropical moisture at 10 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature is still in the 90s, believe it or not. Taking a look at our radar and satellite composite, showers and isolated thunderstorms occurring across the northwest Bahamas. We still have some low-level moisture in place across that area, and the daytime heating has fired up those showers and thunderstorms. Continue to see this trend tomorrow, but we have some Saharan dust that's invading the central and southeast Bahamas. That's going to dry things out, and we are going to see hot temperatures for the remainder of the week and into the weekend. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. We'll tell you more about what your weekend forecast is going to look like.
Still to come on our news, are you looking for some ways to fine dine and wine in Nassau? Well, our Megan Shepherd may have an idea for you at the Margaritaville Beach Resort. Also, supporting your own at home. That's the message from Grand Bahama business owners as the road to 50 continues. And later, a live fiber will soon be coming to your home. Our Joshua Williams has the inside scoop on how services will be installed when our news returns. Stay with us. Tonight, we continue to show you what Margaritaville has to offer when it comes to Bahamian cuisine. Our Megan Shepherd got a first-hand look at what they're doing to meet all of your food and beverage needs.
For the Independence celebration, we will run that entire week. We run a Bahamian special every night, whether it's an appetizer or an entree. So there may be conch bites one night, there may be crack conch the other. We always have fresh fried snapper. That's a staple on our menu.
But if fine dining is more your speed, Saunders says they've got you covered with only the best in choice steaks.
JW is open every day except for Mondays. Mondays would be our closed day. We have a Sunday brunch that's absolutely awesome, including bottomless mimosas, steak and eggs, you have omelets, you have all sorts of choices there. Prime cuts of steak every other night.
And once you've had your fill at one of the 4 full-service restaurants on the property, well, it's time to wind down. Saunders says at Margaritaville, they focus on the margarita.
We are going to be running drink specials through Independence Celebration as well. We are going to have, of course, a blue drink. We're going to build a black drink and a yellow drink as well. All are going to be paired by our bartenders here. Our complement of bartenders is awesome. We've built it like a competition. Who can build the best drink in that color?
So we've had our delicious Bahamian-themed meals for the day. And of course, as a true Bahamian celebrating independence, we have to wash it down with something cool. And some will be a little leaded, unleaded. So James, you're going to take us through some independence-themed drinks today, right?
We are going to have a traditional drink. It's called Tom Collins. It's a very old classic, very old classic. So now you're going to have the Tanqueray 10. I like to use the good stuff.
So this is going to be 1 ounce of this as well?
You can use 2 ounces. 2 ounces of that. 2 ounces. Just a little dash of the lemon juice.
Lemon juice.
Hello.
And then we top it off with
Top it off with that.
Top it off with this. Okay.
2 drops of blue curacao.
2, and this is where our color comes in?
Yes, that's where the color comes in. All right, all right. Lemon. Grab the lemon, 2 of those over there. Grab 2 of those and just stick it right in there. Just put it right there. All right.
Symmetry.
There you go. And there you have.
There you have.
Tom Collins.
All right, it all looks so delicious. Thanks a lot, Megan. And at the resort, the guest experience is key, but they also focus on ensuring that their employees are happy. Well, I spoke to Margaritaville's area director of the hotel's Human Resources Department, who explained what they're doing.
Responsible for the entire people component here at the Margaritaville Beach Resort. Everything is about how we can better the employee experience from the onboarding to the exit. We want that to be a very positive experience because at the end of the day, we want to be the employer of choice.
Often it's been said that employees are the backbone of every successful company. At the Margaritaville Beach Resort, that's something they pride themselves on. Area Director for Human Resources Latoya Kemp says there are currently 382 people employed at the company.
Employee morale, in order for that to remain high, we have to be actively involved, especially from a human resources standpoint. What we realize is that the more HR is on the go and actively involved in the departments, the better the response rate, the better the engagement, and that is what drives us to continue to do this.
As
As for her motivation, she says to continue to develop employees.
And that may mean something different for different employees. So one employee may love the initiatives, another employee may love a development plan. So just finding out what makes our employees tick and then actioning that.
All right, great stuff. And as the Independence holiday quickly approaches, residents in the northern Bahamas are showing their support by shopping at home. Our news team speaking with business owners, employees, and shoppers. Let's take a look.
I think Bahamians should support their local company because Bahamians first, buy local, shop local.
That's the manager of Parfum de Paris, located downtown Freeport, encouraging Bahamians to shop at home this Independence holiday. She says sales have picked up in the downtown area since the return of the food store. And while sales may have picked up for some business owners, not all can say the same.
People in Grand Bahama is feeling the excitement about our 50th Independence. So maybe when they would have shopped at their other stores for their T-shirt and their clothing, they come here to get that fragrance that will set their outfit and everything right off.
Time process, I know that we'll be able to generate some more business.
Independent sales were awesome this year, I must say.
At this time, our Bahamian colors reigns. So you have to have those colors to support the community.
So far, traffic just walking in pretty slowly right now, but we praying to God to see what this week bring.
Once July 1st came in, we really seen an upkick in our sales.
Over at the Raven Mall, Bahari hosting a pop-up shop this week, which attracted lots of shoppers.
I've gotten other stuff from them in the past years, but this is my favorite so far, and I have a whole bag.
I got my 2 pieces, and I'm just waiting to cash out and pay.
And here's why owner of Exotica Boutique and Beyond, Latanya Strawn, says shopping at home can be beneficial.
Well, it builds our economy, and it makes it possible for other persons like myself, entrepreneurs, to continue to go into business.
All right, good news coming out of Grand Bahama. While Alive Fiber beginning to roll out its services to residents in New Providence, offering unique network features that promises to give consumers high quality and internet services. Our Joshua Williams tells you what you can expect when technicians come to your home.
Last week, Italia introduced us to Alive Fiber and its product features such as IPTV, internet speed, and VoIP. For those needing a quick refresher as to what Alive Fiber is.
Experience. Basically, we bring in our new fiber product to our customers to allow them to get faster internet speed and to try out our IPTV.
Now it's time for the technician to come into your home. Saunders says minimal preparation is needed.
Well, there's not much a customer needs to do to prepare. Basically, we just need you to put your pets up so we can work in a safe and comfortable environment. Any other situation we'll just assess once we reach.
And for those of you concerned about an interruption in services,
most services won't be impacted, but we have to take it on a case-by-case basis. Once the service is down, though, it won't take long for it to be restored or the new service to be activated.
As to when services will come to your area.
All right, so we'll be rolling out in a phased approach. Currently, we're in the Adelaide and Coral Harbour area. But for more information on that, you could visit the Alive Fiber website.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
When Our News comes back from the break, thousands of dollars raised over the past 2 years, donated to the Cancer Society. We'll tell you all about it.
We update you on the National Track and Field Meet. Don't go anywhere, our sports is up next.
Quenching your thirst in Golden Jubilee style. Check out the sneak peek of Coca-Cola's new soda cans, which shows off Bahamian culture. We have all the details when Our News returns. This is Our News. Welcome back. The Cancer Society of the Bahamas receiving a $30,000 check this week. Proceeds of Get Your Rare and Gare Bahamas 5K Fun Run Walk. Local director of Get Your Rare and Gare Bahamas, Emily Darville, says the donation was collected over the past 2 years. The funds will assist colon cancer patients in the Bahamas.
This fundraiser was held during Colorectal Cancer Month in March. Was the dream of my late sister, Andrea, who courageously battled colon cancer before transitioning on April 2nd, 2022. In her honor, I continued what she started, and I'm proud to say that we are here today to present a check in the amount of $30,000 to the Cancer Society of the Bahamas in our joint effort to fight colon cancer locally.
Today's sports update is sponsored by Michelob Ultra, distributed in the Bahamas by Jimmy's Wines and Spirits.
We bring you the latest from the National Track and Field Meet, and 2 Bahamian baseball prospects get to show their skills in Seattle this weekend. Look who finally made it to Margaritaville. Here's Tage Adderley for a check on sports. Tage?
Thanks, Natalia. I'm Tage Adderley, and after lobbying all week, somebody finally let me come to Margaritaville. Day 2 of the B3A's Track and Field Junior and Senior National Championships went down last night at the Thomas A. Robertson Stadium. We were there. The B3A's Junior and Senior National Finals continued yesterday at Old Tar. The stars were out in front of their family and friends. Keyshawn Strawn, our national javelin record holder, was happy with his winning performance.
Very satisfied when I threw my progressions. She said I'll be around 84, 85. Trusting my work, trusting my training.
Stephen Gardner felt good after winning the 400 meters in a time of 44.64 seconds, and Devin Charlton advanced to the 110-meter hurdles finals.
It's a good run. I felt very relaxed and I felt comfortable, and that's the most important part about it. I'm healthy after the race.
I thought I got a pretty decent start. The middle was kind of shaky, got pushed to the line, so I had to find something in those last few hurdles. But I thought all in all, it was a good race technically. It was a bit of wind, so the time wasn't great. But I think with better conditions and a race under me tomorrow, I can be a whole lot better.
That'll do it for sports this week. I'm Tage Adderley. I'm in Margaritaville.
Still ahead on our news tonight, Coca-Cola displaying Bahamian pride on their soda cans in honor of the country's 50th anniversary. Plus, lovely temperatures outside the beautiful Margaritaville Beach Resort on this Friday. Greg is back with your weekend weather planner when our news continues. Welcome back to our news. We've had some mixed weather conditions this week, but will it put a damper on your holiday weekend? Well, Greg is back in the Weather Center with more. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Natalia. Welcome back, everybody, for our final look at weather. The weekend is looking rather hot. We have some dry air mass that's invading the central and southeast Bahamas, courtesy of some Saharan dust that's been moving across the Atlantic. Now moving into that area, we also have that big upper level low to the east of us. That is pumping some moisture on the backside. We also have another trough out there, and that's going to continue to keep some showers in place across the northwest Bahamas. But eventually, that drier air mass will be moving across most of the island chain over the weekend and into early next week. So temperatures are going to be warming up rather quickly, and they are going to get really warm. We had an official high at the airport of 94 degrees this afternoon, and the feels-like temperatures were in the triple digits. I think it was like 107. So prepare for that for the weekend. Of course, Independence Day is going to be on Monday, so we're asking you, if you plan on being out there on the outdoors, make sure you take some liquids, especially water, because it's going to get very hot. As I mentioned, dry air mass across the central and southeast Bahamas, basically going to move in that direction and should envelop the entire chain. A couple isolated showers in our future forecast, mainly across the northwest Bahamas, and then it dries out. Most of that activity will stay confined to the extreme northwest Bahamas through tomorrow, and then by Sunday, nothing happening. Dry air mass across the area, a couple of spotty showers in the forecast, but things are not going to be very, very conducive to doing things on the outdoors because it's going to be hot. Northwest and central Bahamas, if you're doing any boating or beaching, the winds will be out of the southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots. They will fall light and variable at times. Seas running 2 to 4 feet. Tide is presently low, will be high at 13 minutes past midnight. For the southeast Bahamas, we'll keep that caution flag in place for you guys down there. East to southeast wind flow at 15 knots. They will be gusting at times, and your seas will be running 3 to 5 feet higher in gusts. Here is a look now at your national forecast. In your 7-day planner, nothing happening across the board. It's going to get extremely hot. Temperatures will be in the low to mid-90s. Triple-digit indices expected, so we're asking you to continue to stay prepared for that. Limit your outdoor activity and make sure you drink lots of water. And those nighttime temperatures, they are going to be warm as well. We are going to be near the 80-degree mark. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night and have a great holiday weekend, everybody.
All right, Greg, sounds great. Well, flamingos and cowbells are just some of the personal touches put on by the Caribbean Bottling Company for its 50th Independence campaign. The company, which has been in the Bahamas for over 80 years, is once again using its products to express Bahamian pride and highlight culture for the country's Golden Jubilee. Marketing Director Jonathan Throneberry says the project came as a result of a partnership with the Independence Secretariat.
We visited 3 islands as a part of our independence campaign with a pop-up event in Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Cat Island. We've had several pop-up events across New Providence, most recently partnering with the government with the HIV testing in Pompey Square, where we served refreshments and had some games and gave out some promotional items. Also the Independence Parade that just took place this last weekend. We gave out over 175 cases of product along the route in celebration of the independence and just a giving back to the community initiative.
All right, with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, we want to say thank you to the team here at Margaritaville Beach Resort and One Particular Harbor for hosting us this week for our news this morning in both evening newscasts. It was a pleasure trading the newsroom views for this scenic downtown this week. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure to tune in to our news this weekend. Have a great evening.